Hey there, this is Andy C from Pieces of 8-Bit. This is a bit of a bonus episode for all you retro gamers out there. Slightly off topic, a little bit off piste. I did notice a VR going around for what is your favourite movie genre, so I figured I'd just sort of add to the let's go slightly off rails for for a few sessions, and we'll go from there. So the reason for this extra video is a completely out of the blue thing. If you've been watching any of my videos, you'll know that this weekend I'm going to be heading off to Milton Keynes, and we're really going to kind of go and have a bit of a kind of 80s and 90s throwback weekend. We're going to go to the Computer Museum, we're going to go to a couple of arcades, and I'm just going to reminisce. You know, it's where I grew up in the 80s, and so you know, it feels like a time warp for me. And I'm not going to talk about that much more now because I'll talk about that later. But we're going on a road trip, so my wife says to me, I think you should probably get some sweets. And you know, being as we're doing a bit of a kind of geeky retro step back in time, then we need to get some retro sweets and snacks for the car. Great idea, I thought. So I went down to our local national bargain chain store, not to mention any names, and I picked up a load of stuff. And then I thought to myself, I picked up a lot of stuff, by the way, loads. So I came back with a CEX bag. This was the bag I took from home, but it's not got, for once, it's not full of games and consoles, it's full of snacks. So what I thought I would do is I'd have a little bit of a trip down memory lane with some of these retro snacks that I've picked up. I'm going to miss some things. There are loads and loads of things that I could have picked up, loads and loads of things that they didn't have there that I could also find as well. But these are some of my favourites. What I thought I'd do is kind of rattle through the bag of stuff that I've got. I'm going to pick my top 5 favourite snacks and probably one of the savoury ones that I've got. And then I'm going to pair them with some games. So, look, let's face it, right? 30 years ago, I did a 24-hour game-a-thon around my friend's house, and we had, I think he had an Atari Lynx, there was a Game Gear, there was Amiga, there might have been a Mega Drive involved. And, you know, we just were plied with snacks and drinks, and that was our 24 hours, and that was what it was all about. And to be honest with you, whilst these snacks are not game related, they have played a very important part of my gaming experience. You know, when we've sat on the sofa of an evening, had friends round, and you know, we've got the snacks out. So I'm going to do a bit of a, think of it like a wine flight, except that instead of comparing it with nice steaks and cheese and gourmet food, I'm going to be comparing 1980s highly processed snacks with some games. So come along for the ride. I'm not sure where this is going to go yet. I haven't given this much thought. I picked the snacks up today. I've come home, decided to do a video. This is it. So yeah, let's see where this goes. Okay, so I'm going to start with the savoury snacks. So main course. So bear with. Right, now, just want to say at this point, I have not picked up any Wotsits, any Monster Munch, any Skips. Those crisps, or do not, or chips if you're American watching this, those snacks do not require any further marketing. They are god tier snacks, and they have been around since probably the 70s actually, and they continue to be amazing, and I will continue to buy them in quantities that are definitely not good for my health. So I've picked a few slightly more obscure ones that you don't see so often. So we're going to start with these. So I could not find the original blue pack flavours. I have bought them in the past, just the normal salt and vinegar flavour. These are fish and chips. They are absolutely delicious. This is pickled onion flavour, so I suspect they're probably much the same. I think I've had these before. But basically the idea is that they're all just sort of little, I'm not going to open them because otherwise I'm going to end up with millions of open packets of crisps everywhere, and unfortunately I will just eat them all, so that's probably not good for my health, so I won't do that. But they're all shaped like little fishes or little chips. It's quite sweet. You don't tend to see them very often now, you tend to only find them occasionally. They have made a little bit of a comeback, but I love these. Okay, so next up is probably the most pointless of snacks. This is another thing that sort of disappeared and then made a bit of a comeback, or at least I didn't see it for a long time. So Salt and Shake basically feels to me like Smiths, as they were in the day, are now Walkers. Couldn't be bothered to put any flavouring into their crisps, so what they did was they gave you a pack of just crisps and then a little sachet of salt so you could do it yourself. I never saw the point of these, but I somehow liked them. They did for a while do some other flavours as well. They did some, I think they did like a prawn cocktail one and stuff like that as well, but I haven't seen those for years and years and years and years. Okay, so next. So this is these. You do see these quite a lot still, actually. These are still around a lot. These are Space Raiders, and these are pretty much next level. I love these. They're very tasty and they're very tangy. And the great thing about these was when I was a kid, you could pick the pack of these up for like 10p. So you could always buy a bag of crisps when you were paying sort of twice the price for a pack of Walkers. You could always pick these up. They're shaped like little alien faces, and they're very tangy. They do a beef flavour as well, which I also quite like, but you don't see them so often. They did actually have them in the store today, but I picked the pickled onion ones up. Those are the most famous ones. Now, for those of you who remember, in the 1980s, they used to stick all sorts of chemicals and add-ins and goodness knows what else into the crisps, and so you used to get these used to be, I'm pretty sure these used to be green. I think there used to be some red ones and some orange ones and all sorts of things like that. Then they decided to ban some of the E numbers because they were, I think, carcinogenic, and they used to make children go wild, and so they just disappeared overnight, which is probably good for us generally as a population. But a real shame, because a lot of things just sort of suddenly disappeared, and things just weren't quite so good. But that's probably because of all of the artificial flavours and chemicals they were putting in. But you know, probably for the best, but still a little bit sad. And then finally we've got our Smith's Savoury Selection, which I have to confess I've already opened. I absolutely adore these bacon fries. They are just brilliant. They're like Frazzles, which could of course also be on this list, but again, Frazzles are still very popular, still very mainstream, so you still see them a lot. These tend to find in the UK in the pub. So when I used to go to the pub when I was a kid, we'd sit in the beer garden because you could very rarely sit in the pub. I would have a can of either some Coke or a bottle of apple ties, and I'd always ask my dad to get a pack of bacon fries. So lots of nice memories of having those. Those, or it'd be smoky bacon crisps was the other one that you'd have at the pub quite a lot. Then you got scampi fries. Now these are really love or hate. I actually really like them. I like scampi fries. They absolutely stink. They are basically supposed to be scampi and lemon flavoured crisps. They don't taste like any scampi that I've ever eaten. Scampi is quite a delicate flavour. These are not a delicate flavour. They're very tangy, very fishy smelling. I'm probably not selling it. I absolutely love them though. There's no other sort of crisp like them. They are really delicious. My youngest son loves them. I like them. My eldest son and my wife absolutely hate them. So they are very much kind of like, you know, they are love or hate. So there you go. So those are my savoury snacks that I've chosen. And like I said, I could have picked so many more. The one snack that I did want to pick, which I couldn't find, was Transformer snack. They were also quite cheap, a bit like the Space Raiders. And the idea was you got a little robot body and then little sort of hoop wheel things, and you could make little sort of, you could transform them into a little car. Completely ridiculous. Yeah, they were really nice as well. They were like a spicy flavour. But I mean, let's face it, when it comes to crisps in the UK, we're a massive, massive crisp eating country. There are loads of crisps that are around in the 80s that are still around today. I mentioned Frazzles. I didn't mention Quavers, one of my absolute favourites. Skips. You've got your ordinary Walkers, obviously. That's pretty much bog standard Walkers crisps. Your Watsits, your Knick-Knacks, Discos, all of those things. And they're all still very popular and still around. So I could have bought hundreds of packs of crisps, and I'd probably all eat them as well, so it's probably best that I didn't. Let's get on to the sweets, and let's have a look at what things I've picked up from the sweet counter. Okay, so you've had your savouries, so your crisps or chips, so that's your main course. So what's for pudding? Right, in our suitably healthy dinner, we are going to have a dive through what sweets I've got. So, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you which ones I think pair with which games in a completely ridiculous and pointless way. It's really just me picking out my favourite 5 and then picking 5 games that I think are broadly associated with it. No purpose to it, just kind of fun. Why not? Right, so we're going to start with these. These are Rainbow Drops. Rainbow Drops are probably the most nutritional free sweet that you could buy. It's just kind of puffed rice with an insane amount of sugar on, and they are sort of, you can see them in here, kind of brightly coloured sweets. They are absolutely delicious, and I love them. When you eat them, you've got to get rid of them straight away because they just go chewy, but they're sort of quite crispy when they're fresh. Quite nice. It's basically just sort of like a pack of breakfast cereal, but I love these because you could buy them for about 5p when you went to your local shop. So they were always quite a good choice for me. You know, if I didn't have much money and I got a few pennies, that's what I might buy. And it always felt like you got loads because it was a massive pack. And in fact, actually, it's probably about 3 grams of food in there, and probably less nutritional content. Rainbow Drops, cracking. Okay, what's next? All right, so I'm going to leave the chocolates to last. What have we got in here? So here we go. Okay, I'm going to do these two together. So this is these are a classic 1p mix. So in the UK in the 80s, you used to get a 10p mix, which you'd go to your local shop if they sold sweets individually, and everything would generally be a penny. And so your mum or your grandmother or your granddad or whatever will give you 10p, and you get a little paper bag, and you go in and say, I want one of those, want one of those, want one of those. So it's like pre-pick and mix, if you like. It was just done, you just have 10 sweets for 10p. And these two were an absolute staple. So you've got your fizzy cola bottles, and you've got your milk bottles. Weirdly, I actually prefer these. I like the milk bottles. You don't see them very often now, actually. So I saw them today, and I was like, I'm going to have to have a pack of those. Fizzy cola bottles, then, yeah, it's got to be the fizzy ones, not the ordinary ones. I do like the ordinary ones, but the fizzy ones are just, they're elite. They're elite level. Love a cola bottle. So, yes, cola bottles and milk bottles. Lovely. Okay, next we have got... Alright, so I've got to pick a couple out here. It's like a Christmas stocking of sweets. It's great. No, not those. These. So this is a sherbet fountain. So sherbet fountain. There's another sherbet thing in a minute I'll show you. So sherbet fountain. A lot of plastic here. Probably not so good for 2024, but it's fine. I like it. Sherbet fountain. Basically just a tube of sherbet. I don't know where it goes up to. I can't see. And this is a licorice lace, basically. So you would lick the licorice lace and then dip it in the sherbet and cover it in the sherbet, and generally you'd get in a massive mess with this. And over time, as the sherbet gets a bit wet, it kind of goes rock hard, and so you get in a massive mess with this, and you struggle to get it all out. But it's absolutely brilliant. I love them. They are so yummy. So love a sherbet fountain. On the subject of sherbets, we also have. Really rummaging around in here. Put those over there for a minute. We have this. Now this is an absolute die-hard classic. This is the sherbet dib dab. Probably from the 70s actually. I think this probably is even older than the 80s. But sherbet dib dab, very simple, similar to the sherbet fountain. So you'd have a little strawberry lolly in there, and you'd lick the strawberry lolly, dip it in the sherbet, and you get sherbet on the lolly, and then you would just eat it like that, and you'd always end up getting loads of little bits of sherbet caught in the corners, which meant that generally speaking you would get in a mess. So you'd have sherbet on the lolly, but you'd also have it all over your face, all over the car, all over the carpet, and generally get in lots of trouble. And you'd sit on the doorstep in the summertime and eat it on a doorstep, maybe spill a load of sherbet dib dab everywhere, and then you'd end up with loads of ants in the house. So that was always a popular one with parents, but I love a sherbet dib dab. I don't know anybody that doesn't actually. Really love a bit of sherbet anyway. Just love sherbet. Great stuff. Alright, so I've got this bag of my sweet shop's favourites. Nice thing about this time of year is that a lot of these retro sweets are around for Halloween, so for you to get for trick-or-treaters. So there's quite a few classics in here. So we've got our drumstick lollies. So drumstick lollies, just like a little chewy sort of. I can't remember what flavour they are. Raspberry and milk, but they do different flavours. There's an apple one, which is the one I really like. Chewy sweet, great for pulling out your fillings, especially when they're cold. They are kind of elite level. My wife absolutely loves those. We've got so we've got squashes. Squashes aren't retro, so they're going in back down here. What else we got in here? We have got refresher. So I've got some Wambars actually, another sort of chewy sweet. These are like this is the lemon one. There's a strawberry one. They come with it's just a chewy sweet. This is a lemon flavoured chewy sweet with more sherbet in the middle of them. Again, great for pulling your fillings out. Absolutely delicious. Use with caution if you're in your 40s. And we have then got, there's loads of little classics in here, our fizzers. These are little sort of hard, sort of like almost like compressed sherbet, I suppose, really. Little sort of fizzy, hard sweets. These are yum. Absolutely delicious. We've got our lolly, which is like a sort of boiled sweet strawberry thing in here. Oh, yes, here we go. Right. One of my favourites and one of my least favourites in two moments. So this is one of my favourites. This is the Swizzler Lolly, and these are just great. I just adore these. They're just the only trouble with them is they're always a nightmare to get out of the plastic. But yeah, so we've got some Swizzler lollies. They're a bit similar to the fizzers that I just showed you, but in sort of lolly form, really. Like a sort of fizzy sort of hard. I say chalky. That makes it sound horrible. They're not chalk. I suppose the texture's a little bit chalky, but I'm not doing it. I'm doing it a disservice by saying that. Swizzler lollies. Now, one of my least favourites. This is a Parma Violet. These things are absolutely rank. I hate these. My youngest son absolutely loves them. Some people love them. They are very much a love-hate thing, but you either love them or you absolutely hate them. I am definitely in the latter. They taste like soap. It's like eating imperial leather. They're just horrible. They're sort of like a floral flavoured hard sweet. They're just, just not nice. They're not nice at all. What else we got in here? Love hearts. So these are a bit like, again, these are a bit like the fizzers. So they're sort of like a hard, crunchy sort of, almost like a chalky texture. Again, I'm not really doing it any service by saying that, but they're very sweet love hearts, and I don't mean that in just in the flavour sense. They're just very sweet anyway. So you would buy a pack of these. We got little ones like this for our wedding, and we use them as wedding favours. We've got some little customised ones, and on each of the love hearts, you can see the little hearts on them. You just about to see that with the lights a bit glary on there, but. And they've got like little messages on there, so like hug me, I love you, and things like that. And so you would eat them and then give them, you know, the ones with the nice messages on to your partner or your best friend or whatever. They're very sentimental, and they're also delicious. So I've got a big pack of them down there, and I will just absolutely rinse through those in about 2 seconds. I absolutely love hearts. They're really nice. What else we got in here? We've got strawberry refresher. Another retro one there, and that's probably it for this bag. So let me pop that back down here. Okay, now, yes, okay. This is a fun one. So this is a flump. Flumps are, well, they're just marshmallows. That's it. Nothing more to say about it. And marshmallows are awesome. So, you know, I don't really need to say any more than that. Everybody knows what marshmallow is. Flump is just a big long marshmallow. Brilliant and cheap and great and retro and awesome. Then we've got. I want to use these two together as well. So these are another couple of your sort of tuck shop penny sweets ones. So you used to get these from the, you know, the individual ones for a penny in your 10p bag. You've got blackjacks and we've got fruit salads. Now, blackjacks are sort of an aniseedy type flavoured sweet. The best thing about these was they made your tongue go black. Anything that makes your tongue go black when you're a kid is awesome, because you just go around and go, hey, look at my tongue, and sticking your tongue out. I like these. I don't love these. They're okay. They're quite nice. They always seem to come with these. So you would buy... quite often, if you bought a bag of these, you'd blackjacks and fruit salads together in the same bag. So fruit salads are, I mean, they taste like nothing like a fruit salad, and they have no nutritional value of a fruit salad, but they're sort of like a tutti frutti type sweet. These are, I love these. So if I bought a pack with the blackjacks and the fruit salads in, I'd just munch all the fruit salads first. They're my favourite. I just love these. They're sort of really quite... I don't really know how to explain it. There's nothing really else that I know that really tastes like these. They're, yeah, just like a chewy sweet with a sort of, yeah, sort of tutti fruity flavour, but yeah, they definitely don't taste like fruit salad. Certainly not. Yeah, not any fruit salad I've ever eaten, that's for sure. All right. Oh, what a classic! What a classic! So this is the Wambar. This is a real retro classic. This one. Any retro sweets collection absolutely has to have a Wambar in it. Otherwise, just forget it. So the Wambar is basically, it's a raspberry flavoured, chewy sweet, bit like the refreshers that I showed you earlier. These ones, and then they've got these sort of sour crystals in the middle of them, and they are, oh, I love a Wambar. They are absolutely epic, next level, brilliant, and properly retro as well. Even packaging, look how retro this packaging is. Look how 80s that is. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. All right. Okay, so what have we got next? Okay, I've got a couple of random ones. I'm sure there's some terrible, this is terribly bad etiquette for me just sort of disappearing off camera and rummaging around in a bag by my feet, but that's what I'm going to do. So these last couple of retro ones, I'm going to just talk about a few of the chocky picks that I've made. So we've got candy sticks. Now these were brilliant. I love candy sticks, but they weren't particularly great sweets. They're rock hard, sort of white sugary sweets, and they're nice. I mean, as a kid they're just pure sugar, so you love them. But the great thing about these is that they came with little stickers or collectible cards, or quite often little temporary tattoos. So they were great, and you used to want to collect all the different cards. Yeah, the cards were very collectible actually in the 80s. I don't really know. People aren't so fussed about it nowadays. They're obviously quite often superheroes, very often Superman. He was quite often on the front of them. Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, probably as well nowadays, hopefully kids don't do what we used to do, which is that we used to pretend we were all smoking cigarettes with these because we thought that was cool back in the day. So obviously better than actually smoking cigarettes, but you know, even so, we just think that was fine. And hey, look at me, I'm smoking, it's great. Not me, obviously, only the other kids, sure. Well, I never actually smoked, so that was about as close as I ever got, which is a good thing, I suppose. But and then there's these. These are you used to get these. I don't really know when these appeared. I remember them appearing in the 80s. My brother was particularly fond of these, but I like these as well. They're like a sort of soft jelly. So if you think Haribo, but think softer, and they would come in like, I mean, these ones are dinosaurs. You'd have like sort of dragons or monsters or whatever, and that was typically the thing. And they would all different ones on there, but you used to be able to buy them individually. Lots of plastic packaging in here. It was quite disgraceful, really. And so yes, I really like these. These are real proper kids sweets that, like when I was a kid, all the kids sweets that we had, like none of the adults actually liked them. I'll still eat these though. These are still great. You get other ones that these sort of jelly ones where you get like things like they'll be like a burger or something like that. You tend to get them in sweet shops at the seaside for some reason, randomly. Obviously, Sticks of Rock. Now that is a classic. All right, so I think that's it for all of the sort of the chewy kind of sweet shop sweets. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about some of my chalky picks. Alright, so what collection of sweets would not be complete? Would be complete without some chocolate. Now I wanted to go for the sweet shop stuff. That's the real retro stuff, and there is loads of chocolate around that has been around for years that people still love. Your Snickers, or as we called it, Marathon Mars, your Mars bars, your Dairy Milks, all of those things that have been around for donkey's years. They don't need any attention. They've got plenty of attention. They continue to be popular. Everybody loves them. Not so much the Bounty. A lot of hate for the Bounty for some reason. I don't know why. I love a Bounty, but and that's a real 80s sweet because they had. I always remember the Bounty adverts with some sort of tropical beach with a coconut smashing on a rock and coconut milk going everywhere, and it was like, oh yeah, I love a Bounty. I really love a Bounty. It always felt like it was quite a grown-up sweet as well when I was little. It was like, the Bounty, you always felt quite grown up. Don't know why, maybe it was just me. Well, it's certainly just me. So what have I picked for my retro chocolatey sweets? I picked some Poppets. Poppets are going to take your fillings out. If you're my age, these are going to take your fillings out. These are little chewy toffee sweets with chocolate on them, and that's it. They're just little, but you don't see them much now. They almost completely disappeared a few years ago. I didn't see them for ages, and then I saw them back in the shops, and they're just really nice. I really love Poppets. They're good. The toffee is so chewy, and it will absolutely take any loose fillings out. So just beware with those. I have a few examples of taking fillings out, and I have one example actually. I was eating some sweets called Tutti Fruttis, which you sadly can't get anymore. They're one of my absolute favourites. Yeah, I just had some root canal done on my tooth, so my tooth was a bit brittle, and I ate these Tutti Fruttis, which are sort of hard sweets on the outside and then sort of chewy in the middle, and my tooth literally just went split in half. I had root canal, so it didn't hurt, but it was pretty wild that it managed to do that. I still finished the pack, I might add. I'm not going to waste those. And I think I ate them because I'd seen them, and I hadn't seen them for years. I was like, oh my goodness, Tutti Fruttis, I'm going to have those. And then sort of regretted it. I had to have a crown after that, so it was quite an expensive pack of sweets. But yes, Poppets, not seen very often. Very nice, very retro, very 80s. I've got some Smarties. Smarties are still very, very popular, but I wanted to just talk about Smarties because they've changed a little bit. They used to be in a cylindrical tube with a little plastic top on them, which used to, if you squeezed it when there was no Smarties in there, you could fire it off at your mate's head. Not particularly dangerous, but probably terrible for the environment because they ended up in bushes and whatever. They're probably still there. For some reason, people used to collect them. They were like little. They had a letter on them, and they were different colours. And people used to collect the little Smartie lids. Don't know why, but yeah, Smarties. Yeah, a lot of Smarties in the 80s. They used to do special edition Smarties. So you'd have like they did the blue Smarties had little sunglasses on them for a while for some reason. I can't remember why. Orange Smarties, I think they still do actually. Orange Smarties actually taste of orange, so it's chocolate orange, which is unusual. You don't get that with like something like M&Ms. These are better than M&Ms. I'm sorry to my American friends, but Smarties are nicer. They're a bit harder, a bit crunchier. I think they're a bit larger, I would say, actually, as well. So I actually prefer a Smartie, but they're really quite. I always think of Smarties as being quite retro, even though they're still very popular today. You can buy them everywhere. These are I hate to say it, these are the Christmas ones that you buy, the tubes that you buy for Christmas. But yes, yum. And then I've got a little selection of Cadbury's sweets here. You've got to have some Cadbury's. So you've got your finger of fudge. So it's just a little one out of a pack, a multi-pack. So finger of fudge, everybody remembers the advert, or those that were around when I was around remember the advert. Finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat. So yes, love a finger of fudge. They were great because they were cheap. So you could buy those with your pocket money. They were about 10, 12p or something. You always buy a finger of fudge. Even if you couldn't afford a Mars bar, you always buy a finger of fudge. Curly Whirly. This is definitely an 80s invention. I remember these coming out. Of the normal Curly Whirly, sort of yay big. These are also quite cheap as well because they're sort of like a chocolate covered caramel, and they're sort of like, I don't know how you'd explain it really, but without taking one out of the packet. But they've just sort of got it's not like that. All of that is not chocolate. There's space in there, and so there's a lot less. They always looked bigger than they actually were. So like Curly Whirly, and then you've got the classic pocket money sweet, which is your Freddo. So this was great. You could buy these for 10p, which meant that you could always have a little bit of chocolate, even if you hadn't got much money in your pocket. It's dairy milk, little sort of frog-shaped chocolate, and yeah, these are great. I love the Freddo. These, you could always get these in the tuck shop, and they were 10p. There was a couple of things that you could buy that were 10p. I lived in Scotland for a few years, and so Highland Toffee was one of those things you could get, which is a retro sweet I could not find. But I know they're still around. They're nice too. But yeah, always get a Freddo. Always nice and cheap. Very pocket money friendly. And nowadays, I'm not sure how I feel about this really. You can get a caramel one too. So yeah, Freddos, grade A, absolutely epic, brilliant. Okay, so that's all my retro chocolate. So this is my collection of sweets for my journey to Milton Keynes, and probably for the hotel in the evening on Saturday night. Had to be done, and I just felt like I wanted to make a video and tell you about all this sugar that I've bought. What I'm going to do now is just give you an honourable mention. So my honourable mention is party rings. So I didn't want to do biscuits as well. If I did biscuits and loads of crisps and everything else, we'd have been here all day and you'd all be bored and falling asleep. So I just wanted to mention this because party rings for me, if you're going to talk about a retro biscuit from childhood, this is the one. And you almost eat these like sweets. They're just like a mouthful. Little sort of hard biscuits with like a frosted sugar coating on them. They're absolutely delicious. And yeah, these would definitely be something that would feature in any gaming session, either still in the packet or put in a little bowl where you can just picking them up and eating them while you're playing. So yeah, love the party ring. So honourable mention for some biscuits there, but yeah, I mean there's so many biscuits to mention. You could do a whole session just on that. Most of them are all still around and easy to find. So yes, so that's that. So right, next what I'm going to do is easily the most pointless exercise of all, and if anybody feels like doing a video response, please do feel free. I'm just going to pick my 5 favourite of these classic sweets, and I'm going to tell you what game springs to mind that I would pair them with. So, like I said earlier, imagine like a wine flight. You know, you go to a fine dining restaurant and you're picking your meals, and you've got some steak in there, and maybe you know, some lobster or something like that, and the sommelier is coming around, and he or she are picking the wine for you to try with your dish. This is like the gaming retro equivalent of that. Think of it in that way, that I'm picking up some highly processed sugar infused snacks, and I'm going to tell you which of my 5 favourite ones and which of my game pairings I think they go with. Completely useless exercise, but hey, it'll be a bit of fun. So let me know what you think, and let me know what your picks are in the comments. So let's dive straight in with my top 5 picks. Okay, so what are my top 5 picks? They're not in any kind of order. I'm first going to do my savoury snacks first. So I'm just going to pick... I was umming and ahhing about this because I do absolutely love the bacon fries, but that's more of a pub thing, I think. So the bacon fries that I had would be, you know, we'd go and sit in a beer garden in the summer, we might go and play on the little park that might be there, and you know, we might have some bacon fries and a Diet Coke or Coca-Cola or whatever, something like that. So it doesn't really associate for me with games. These, however, absolutely do. These Space Raiders, this is exactly the sort of thing we would have had in a bowl. You know, I'd go around my mate's house, or they'd come round to us, and they, you know, their mum would get like a bowl out and chuck a load of Space Raiders in, and we'd play video games. And the obvious choice for these to associate would be Space Invaders, but that's not a game that I really played very much. So, I mean, everybody plays Space Invaders from time to time, but it's not a game I've played lots of. So I think it could be something like Xenon 2, but for me, I'm going to pick R-Type. I think R-Type that was the first thing that sprung to my mind. So when I'm eating my Space Raiders, I'm going to be playing R-Type. That feels like a perfect match. So that's my first pick. Okay, my next pick is going to be the Wamba. So a lot of love for this. This is something you can eat while you're playing your games. Yeah, you probably would have a bowl with some of those Twizzler snacks that I put in, you know, the drumstick lollies and that kind of thing, a bowl with a selection of sweets in. But Wham would be my go-to. This, you know, these would get eaten before anything else. I love the packaging. I mean, this is just, you know, any retro sweet hamper or box or whatever's got to include Wham bars. That's just like, that's the law. They are just brilliant. And so I'm thinking, I mean, it's got a little space rocket on there, but my first go-to when I was thinking about these was Street Fighter, actually. Maybe it's the Wham, you know, like, I was thinking Street Fighter, friends around, bowl of sweets, munching on Wham bars, probably, you know, like winner stays on, and while the other person's off, they're just eating these. Yeah, so that's Wham bar, that's my second pick. Alright, what's next? So this is more of a word association, I think, more than anything else. So this is my Freddo. This is my third pick. So Freddo, I'm thinking Frogger for Freddo. It's just like a tongue twister every time I say it. Frogger for Freddo, just because he's a frog. Freddo the Frog for Frogger, the game. I could have so easily screwed that up. So yeah, and it's not necessarily that I would necessarily go out my way to eat these while I was playing Frogger. It's just more that he's a frog, and it made me think about Frogger. So that's my third pick, and it had to be on there because it's dairy milk and it's Freddo, and I have lots of fond memories of just buying these with 10p of my pocket money. So yeah, love a Freddo, and I love the game Frogger. Who doesn't? So it's a great game. You could probably play Crossy Road now if you wanted to. I'll allow it. Okay, so that's my third pick. Now my fourth pick was, well, it could be either one of these really. I think probably if I was going to have a Chupa Chups lolly, it'd probably have to be Zool, based on the fact that I think they sponsored the game and there's loads of sweets in it. I did think about, I did also think about Robocod, because he sort of collects sweets and other bits and pieces on there. But my initial go-to with a lolly, specifically this one, because this is my favourite, but either of these is good, is racing games. Because you want snacks when you're in racing games. You don't want to be concentrating. You don't want to be up the food. You haven't got time. You're racing. It's full focus for that period of time. You have one of these. These are delicious. I love these. You can eat them anytime when you can actually get into them. And what's the most classic 1980s racer? Certainly for me, I would say is Outrun. Outrun is a great game, and I can definitely see me buying these sorts of things maybe at a fun fair, or in town at the seaside, and then going to an amusement arcade and playing Outrun. So I think that feels like a good association. There's no association other than that. There's nothing to do with cars or anything other than the fact that they're just lollies, and they're really convenient for eating when you're doing racing games. That's number 4. So number 5. Right, number 5 is my honourable mention. So I mentioned about party rings. Party rings are great. You've got a group of people around your house, like I said before, then that's going to work. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with for my 5th pick. So we're going to go for party rings, and that is what we are going for. So the game we're thinking about for going for that is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog. Why? Well, Sonic party rings just feels like I know it's an 80s thing, but it feels like a 90s thing for me. Sonic's 90s, well, no, actually, no, it will be 80s as well. So no, that works. But it's rings, isn't it? It's rings. So it's gonna be Sonic, surely. It's got to be Sonic. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog and party rings. Pick number 5. What are your picks? Let me know in the comments. If you fancy doing a video response to this utterly pointless exercise, please feel free. I'm all geared up I've got all my snacks. I'm ready for my road trip. So I will see you in the next one for that. Yes, coming up on the channel, I'm going to be doing PlayStation 1 review for a month. So the PlayStation 1 is going to get promoted to our living room. It's going to sit there with my other consoles, and I'm going to play on it, and I'm going to live with it again for a month. So it's going to come out of retirement, and I'm very excited about it. I think, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to doing this. I think it's a good way of giving your consoles a bit of another life for a period of time, playing some of those old games. I don't have the setup where I can just switch a console on. I have to go and find all the leads for it and plug it in and hook it up to the TV and everything else. So I tend to not do it as much as I would like. So this is a way for me to get the console back out and just put it where it belongs, in the living room under the television, and play a bunch of games. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm then going to be talking about tips on how to get the best out of it, where to go find them, what sort of things to look out for, what kind of games I've been playing. So expect some PlayStation 1 games in some of my reviews over the next few weeks. 1st of October, the PlayStation will be into my living room, and I will talk about it in November. So that's it for me today. This was a bit of a bonus one. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye for now.